Good evening, everyone. This side Ayush from Invent Model, and now I'm going to start uh, to explain the remaining topics that we covered in the previous session. So, uh, this presentation agenda is to cover these two following topics, which is what is the reference object and explain it with the example. And the second one is if you are adding or updating attributes columns in business entity, so what are the steps to implement that? So first point is what is the reference object and to explain it with example. So a reference object in MDM is a entity that stores reference or lookup data that can be used by other objects. So reference objects basically helps in maintaining data consistency and integrity by providing standardized values for commonly used attributes. So we can take the example of country that we saw in the previous session that if we take reference data as a country, so all the country that are available in the worldwide can be used as a lookup data. So, for further explanation, we can see a reference object is typically a table that contains predefined non-transactional data that does not frequently change. Like the country name does not frequently change, so it can be act as a reference data. So it is used to ensure data accuracy and avoid redundancy. Reference objects are used in validations, mappings, and lookups with Informatica MDM. So uh, if you want to ensure that user does not select any wrong country, so in reference data we can provide country as a reference object. So all the countries that are listed uh, by default they will come as a drop down if we select that field as a pick list. So this is the benefit of reference object. And the example we can see, let's say we have a customer master data table that includes customer details, and the country field in the customer data should contain only valid country names, which is available worldwide. So, if we do not want to create or give country names manually to any particular customer, we can select them in a pick list, and from there it can come in drop down. So we can select the valid country name from that. And for configuring it, we have to go to pick list field, and there we can select reference data as a country. Now, the next point is what are the steps to add or update columns in business entity. So first of all, we have to create a business entity in using Business 360 console. So for creating business entity like any new customer entity, we have to click on new, then we have to click on model section, and then right we have different options. So we have to select on business entity option. Then we can create the business entity and we can browse the location of that entity with our project that we covered in I think fifth video. Then after creating business entity, we have to define attributes column for that entity. For that, we have to select the data type. Like we have multiple data types in Informatica MDM SaaS, which is text, integer, decimal, float, boolean, date time, and pick list and dependent pick list. And we can use them according to our need. Then after selecting the data type, as we do, we provide the column name, attribute name, and then there we do different configuration. Like we have to select whether it's required field or not. So if we integrate this with a customer 360, so if this field is required, then if we do not provide value to this field, it will throw an error. So that is a basically use of required field. So, and the next one is multi-line option. So if in our text field we have multiple line data, so we can select this option, multi-line option. This is the practical representation of that required field, and uh, from where we have to do this. Then we can also select on different search options like searchable, auto suggest, and facetable, which we have covered in the previous session. So according to our need, like if we want to enabling filter and uh, on any field. So we can select them as a searchable. And if we select auto suggest, so if we enter the name of any column, so it will by default give the next value of this. And if we want to disable any attribute, so first of all, we'll have to remove all the dependency of that attribute. Like if it is defined in any object, like any pages, create page, search page, or create and edit page, we have to remove that attribute from there. Only then we will be able to remove that attribute from the uh, business entity section. So after adding attribute, if you want to access that in Customer 360, so we'll have to integrate that business entity in Customer 360. So yeah, thank you. That's all from my side.